By this point in time, you've probably already heard about the death of 2 women at the hand of Ferris Bueller's Matthew Broderick when he crashed into their car in Ireland in 1987. But what if his reign of terror didn't end there? For those of you who haven't heard, Broderick was accompanied by his co-star Jennifer Grey, who played his older sister on screen, a romance far before its time. The pair were making their way to Northern Ireland, land of traders, when the star veered into the lane for oncoming traffic, crashing into the car of 2 women, Anna Gallagher, 28, and her mother, Margaret Doherty, 63. The 2 were announced dead on arrival at the local hospital. The price Broderick incurred, however, was undoubtedly far less, making his way out of the whole ordeal with little more than a broken leg, a concussion, and in what's often referred to by the victim's family as a travesty of justice, a charge for careless driving and a fine of $175. In fact, for over a decade, Broderick had only communicated with the family of the deceased in a single apology letter, until, in 2002, he finally returned to Ireland to visit and express his condolences. The family and Broderick had both made great strides in their effort for healing since the accident, and all was supposedly forgiven at the time of their reunion. But why, all of a sudden, would Matthew Broderick decide to make amends?
Justice will be served.
The answer may lie in another mysterious circumstance addressed in the 2018 film The Disaster Artist, the tell-all behind-the-scenes story of Tommy Wiseau's rise to becoming the filmmaker of The Room, the greatest bad movie ever made. The Disaster Artist, starring James and Dave Franco, is an adaptation of Greg Sestero and Tom Bissell's 2013 tell-all from behind the scenes of The Room, The Disaster Artist, My Life Inside the Room, the greatest bad movie ever made.
Like sexy rain.
The film explores the nearly $6 million production, while never quite answering the questions, where are Tommy Wiseau and his unique accent from? How old is he? And how the hell did he have $6 million to spare on his self-funded project?
Don't talk about me.
Upon watching the film in its theatrical release, one scene specifically stood out to me. It's where Greg Sestero arrives at Tommy Wiseau's apartment for the first time and starts asking questions about Tommy's origins.
Sorry. A little bit nosy guy. Yeah.
Wiseau says he's Greg's age, 19, and he's from New Orleans, equally unlikely, and only once mentions that he was in some kind of accident.
Then one day I get into an accident.
What happened?
Guy run red light and smash.
Whoa.
Very bad for Tommy. I almost die, but then I survive.
Almost immediately, the solution came to me. What if Wiseau's rugged appearance, strange speech patterns, and millions of dollars were all the products of a devastating car accident with a high-profile driver behind the wheel? Perhaps someone who couldn't afford the negative exposure. Perhaps someone who had been involved in a similar scandal before. Could it be that Matthew Broderick had made the same mistake twice and paid Wiseau in a massive amount of hush money, disfiguring him, altering his communicative functions, and causing him to catapult himself into an obsession with show business somewhat later in his life?
It's like a bottomless pit. Really? Yeah. Tommy. Yeah.
Broderick certainly could afford to pay off another victim. His current net worth is about $45 million, less than a third of the $150 million he's worth, coupled with his wife, Sarah Jessica Parker, who undoubtedly still receives money from the syndicated Sex and the City series, as well as Halloween money every time that Hocus Pocus runs on television in the fall. I left the theater with an unhealthy dose of confirmation bias, immediately checking Matthew Broderick's IMDb. I mean, what was the last thing the public had seen him in? Inspector Gadget? As it turns out, Broderick is actually quite busy, starring in 2004's The Stepford Wives and the smash hit The Lion King 3, Hakuna Matata. However, with the credit for almost every year since Ferris Bueller, there remained a mysterious gap between 2000 and 2003, most notably between Inspector Gadget and his lead role in the made-for-TV movie version of The Music Man. Could Matthew Broderick have been hiding from the public eye as he realized Wiseau was beginning his burgeoning career as a filmmaker? Is this what prompted him to visit the family of his victims from 1987 so many years later, in 2002? I had to know more. What I found next shocked me. I went straight to IMDb again, checking Inspector Gadget 2, only this time around, the $6 million man was not played by Matthew Broderick, but by an obvious compromise, French Stewart. Not only had the film been in production during Broderick's absence from the limelight, but it released in 2003, the same year as The Room. Perhaps realizing that The Room had not addressed any accident or scandal in Wiseau's tragic life and only made $1,800 its opening weekend, we see a resurgence in Matthew Broderick's career. We might never know the truth, and we may never get the closure we deserve. But 3 things are for certain. Tommy Wiseau cannot direct. Dave Franco cannot act.
Just wanted to be in the movies.
And Matthew Broderick cannot drive. Thank you for watching.